Alright guys, welcome back to another video on vascularity, and in this video we're going to be going over how you can increase your vascularity for those thick veins and veiny forearms, bicep veins. A lot of us begin training and we see these guys who are jacked with veins everywhere, and that's what we aim for and strive to achieve, since we see all of the people we look up to with the same type of bodies with veins and everything. So in this video we're going to be going over how you can achieve increased vascularity in your physique, and what changes you need to make to do so. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so when we're looking at ways to increase your vascularity, I want to preface this by saying, out of all the ways to increase your vascularity, you might already know this, but the most useful one, or the one that's the most likely to get actual results, is training. If you're training, or you've been training for a few months or a year and you still don't see any veins, it just means you haven't done enough training, or your genetics just aren't there yet. Training is really the best way, and if you want to see bicep veins or forearm veins, which are typically the most common veins that you'll see on your physique, you just need to increase the amount of training or volume on your forearms or bicep. Typically, you'll see your bicep vein, once you start losing, you get lean, and you get lean, like I said before, through training. When you start losing body fat, it increases the overall circulation of blood throughout your body and makes these arteries and veins more visible, as there's less fat covering them, and you're healthier. So your body promotes it, increases the amount of blood flow, circulation, since your body is using more oxygen to fuel its muscles, and you have thicker and bigger muscles. It needs more oxygen to create ATP, which then you use to power your muscles. Through the training, we then get thicker veins. That's why training will increase the thickness of the veins and make them more visible. Like I said before, with the reduction of body fat, if you want to reduce body fat, you need to get on a caloric deficit. It's the only way you lose weight. Unless if you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose weight. And anyone who is in a caloric deficit, no matter who you are, will lose weight. So if you're struggling with weight loss, I recommend you go watch one of my diet videos that I've recorded in the past that go over how to get into a caloric deficit and maintain a caloric deficit, as it's the primary method. It's really the only method of losing weight, hence then losing body fat. And when you are in a caloric deficit, make sure to be getting around 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. So if you're a man, you weigh 150, get 150 grams of protein. If you're a woman, you weigh 120, get 120 grams of protein. This will lead to the best and most optimum results within your training. Veins are often a result of, in many cases, performance enhancing drugs. If you see people getting veins on their chests or on their abs, it's either performance enhancing drugs or really good genetics over very many years. I've trained personally with good genetics for many years, 5 years in total, and I've really gotten veins. I've only gotten veins in my shoulders recently, so there's no real rush in it. You're not gonna be getting veins right away. It's not gonna be like I train one day and then the next 2 weeks I have veins all over the place. If I've been training for 5 years and I've only just started to get veins in my shoulders, then it could take a long time for you to get veins in the rest of your body. And it's also largely genetic. Like, I've seen people get veins way quicker and have way worse looking physiques compared to mine, and they have veins literally everywhere. Their bodies are super duper vascular, and it's crazy. They have veins in their legs. I remember I had a friend of mine who was a runner, had veins all over his legs. Personally, I've never had veins on my legs, even though my legs are almost as defined as his. There's just no veins on them. This is genetics, and some people just have more genetic tendencies to have increased visibility of their veins, and their veins are thicker or much more visible. It might not just be that they're thicker, it might just be that they're located slightly higher up on the skin barrier or whatever, and it makes them easier to see. So that could be too. When we're looking at diet and we're trying to see what foods will increase our vascularity overall, the literature shows that fruits and vegetables are very, very important when trying to increase vascularity. Especially fruits and vegetables are high in nitrates. These nitrates promote the healthy circulation of blood throughout our bodies. Improves blood flow leads to thicker veins as more blood's flowing through them. And you know how I said in all my other videos, your body adapts to what's put under, the strains that it's put under. As your body starts pumping in more blood, since its increased nitrate content has told your body to do so, your veins will start getting thicker, and once your veins get thicker, they become more visible. Probably besides long-term visible changes to your veins, which you can get through training and through a solid diet, short-term changes in your veins are very, very easy to achieve. Most people like me, I don't get veins on my shoulders unless I go in a really hard workout or I'm flexing. Simply by flexing or getting into a workout, it increases your overall vascularity as your blood vessels dilate to pump extra amounts of oxygen to your muscles, since your muscles are producing more energy and they need more energy, and so you need more blood. So whenever I train, I often get these huge veins, and they can even sometimes dip a little bit into my chest, a tiny little bit. And it's only from training. I never get those types of veins when I'm not training. I walk around relaxed, and maybe I have a vein on my biceps, but I never really get those thick veins, or my forearm. Forearms are the easiest to get veins on, and forearms are also very easy to train to get veins on. Just remember, time under tension, TUT, any sort of time under tension exercise where you're holding weight. Typically farmer carries are really good for increasing the vascularity in your forearms. If you want to get veins as quick as possible, just do a lot of farmer carries. You're gonna get real thick, veiny forearms. I've done that, and that's how I've gotten my forearms denser, thicker, and more vascular. And I personally do not have really good genetics when it comes to increased vascularity, I'd say. Doesn't mean that I have bad genetics. I feel like I have above average genetics in general with building my body, my muscles. They grow faster, thicker than most people's. But that doesn't mean that you're going to have super crazy vascularity either. You could be super duper lean, super duper buff, ripped, shredded, like Chris Bumstead, and still not be as veiny as some of these people that you see online, because these people have genetics that are more oriented to increase vascularity. Plus, maybe you're not using PEDs, and most PEDs will increase your vascularity by a buttload. Most natural athletes do not have any sort of veins on their abs or anything like that. That's crazy. It takes a lot of work to get there, and many, many years of natural training with good genetics if you want to get there, for most people. So some people might never even get there. Vascularity is it's hard to get through regular training. But when we're looking at short term, a good way to get short term veins is by increasing the overall temperature. Besides training will, like, and flexing increases the veins vascularity, of course, as I've already said. But when you're in hot water, or if you've gone to the sauna, you go out, you see yourself, you have a pump everywhere. I've done this before. I go in a hot tub, I get out of the hot tub, I have veins all over my shoulders, my neck's all veiny. It's even going a little bit into my chest, so I haven't even worked out. What happens is that the hot water increases your heart rate, so your blood begins pumping more blood everywhere. And this excess blood needs to go somewhere, so it starts flowing through all your veins, all your arteries, increases the growth hormonal response. So this is why saunas and hot water for extended periods of time throughout the week are good for recovery, and people go into the saunas for recovery. And you might see it if you go to a really good gym. I know this super high class gym that has saunas in them, and maybe not all gyms, but there are a lot of really good gyms that have saunas included for recovery, which is crazy because you feel like you're dying sometimes at some of those. But this would be a really easy way to increase your overall vascularity. And some people say that it even has permanent effects if you do it long enough, since you're stretching out your veins so much. Although I I haven't personally experienced this. I mean, maybe if you spend enough time in hot water for many years, I gotta guess that it would also increase your vascularity. But you'd have to be doing this for a very long time on top of already training to see any real results in increased vascularity through increasing the heat that will be permanent. Again, when we're going back to nutrition, hydration is very important. People sometimes don't stay hydrated enough, and decreasing sodium levels. High levels of sodium are correlated with increased water retention. And if we want to get really veiny forearms or veins in general, we don't want this increased water retention. So maybe slightly decreasing or having a more moderate sodium intake would be beneficial when trying to increase your overall vascularity. Don't forget that sodium is an essential electrolyte, and some people take this to the extreme where they take away all their sodium, and then there's other people on the other side of the extreme where they just put sodium and everything's super salty, and they have super excess water retention. So be careful when you're doing this. Try not to overdo it either way, because I've seen personal experience both sides of the equation, where there's people who do excess sodium and there's people who don't do any sodium in any of their diet, and this decreases the length of their workouts, decreases energy, decreases libido, decreases everything, because you need sodium. It's very essential to keeping yourself hydrated. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, let me know what you want to see in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.